Hi, I just want you to welcome you to Beyond Worlds and give you a little bit of an understanding what this channel is really about. So welcome to Beyond Worlds. The first video that we actually put on YouTube is really for a phantom procession that happened at Croxton Village, Heath, quite a while ago, and we just wanted to let people know kind of the sort of stuff that we'd be putting out on this channel. I didn't want to just start a channel. The channel started because of a few things that happened to me within my life. There have been lots of instances where the world has just seemed a little bit unusual. I walked along in life as a young girl, as a toddler, and things were from an unseen perspective from everybody else, in maybe a spiritual way. Things kind of attached themselves to me, and for me it was just a normal day of life, a normal occurrence. And as I started getting older and wiser and gaining more knowledge about the world around me, I realised that the stuff that was happening to me in a spiritual and dimensional kind of way wasn't what normal people or people of today are aware of. It was like I felt super sensitive to the world around me. I could see things that other people couldn't see. I could also feel and know what was going on with other people around me, and even strangers. I would just have an image in my head pop into my head just by meeting them, and while they were talking to me I wasn't hearing the words that they were saying. It was like there was a movie happening in my head of something that's happened to them. It's really strange to tell you this, because I've struggled with this all my life, trying to put into words what I actually feel and what I actually see. I believe in creation. I also believe in some sciences, but it doesn't mean that all science is true or all religion is true. I think each person experiences the world around them differently to other people, and it's very personal to you how you choose in your life to see the world around you. As Jesus and as other people have said who have had great insight and knowledge to that spiritual realm, we are creators of our own world. We have heaven, the kingdom of heaven is inside us. Love, light, peace, unity. We all have that shadow side also. And I believe, the world around us is just ours. What we create around us is our world. So we are all makers, we are all creators. So I just want you to go ahead and just say to you, this is what the channel will be about. It's going to delve into strange things that happen, not just around me, but what people have reported, not just around where I live, but all over the country, maybe all over the world. But I just wanted to let you know you are not alone. That is mainly why I wanted to come on here. I wanted to let you know that things sometimes you see and hear, and your mind kind of doesn't understand what's going on, so it fills in the gaps. You are not alone. This happens to so many people, and the world is becoming more awake. I'm not saying woke, I'm saying awake. The world is becoming more awake of the unseen realms around, hidden in plain sight. Some of it, I've experienced encounters with people that are not people, and I know that sounds really strange, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you. I'm not going to delve into that now because there is a lot to unpack, but yeah, I've had regular visits from things I can't remember. Regular visits from, I would say, UAPs. You know, I've never remembered an encounter with an alien apart from probably the ones that I have seen here in human form, but I've never had a conversation with them about it. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack. I've had not a relationship, but I have seen, you'd call them Bigfoot or dogmen. I call them the wild man. I experienced this as a child, just thinking it was someone struggling. To me, and like, probably, I'm not going to go who was with me because they might not want to be part of this, but we thought it was just a homeless man in the forest when we were young children. But obviously it wasn't. Getting older, you kind of like realise that these things, it just seems strange to me that there are certain individuals that walk this planet that are consumed by this stuff going on, and not even knowing what it is from an early age. I mean, from the age of 4 I wasn't taught stuff, but I did know the story of Red Riding Hood. So, and I believe also when you have contact with the spiritual realm, whether it be interdimensional beings like aliens, or you know, interdimensional beings that just are here. It's alien to us, that's why I say aliens, because it's alien to us as human beings. You know, they try to come to you in a form that you would recognise, you know, as warnings. And the one I used to get quite regularly was the big bad wolf. My mum had a little red coat for me when I was little, and I used to always wear this red coat. And I had 3 times in a row had the same dream, and I must have been about 5, and we had neighbours that lived literally next to us, but it was like on an alleyway. So this is one of my stories. So I had a regular dream that I would get up, I'd put my coat on, I'd go, "Mum, I'm going out, I'm going to go knock for so and so." And she'd be like, "Okay then, just, it's frosty out there, make sure you put your mittens on and make sure you close the gate behind you." And I'd go, "Yeah, alright then." And she'd go, "If they're not in, come straight back home." And I'd be like, "Alright." And then I'd walk out the front door. I would open my white gate up. I would walk outside near the hedge, and I'd notice all the frost everywhere. And I'd be like, "Oh, it's really like white with frost today," you know. I'd go around the corner to the alleyway, and when I got there, I wouldn't dare knock on my friend's door, because down the alleyway was the big bad wolf. And he used to always say to me, "I'm gonna come and eat you up." And I'd go running, all the way running back to my front door, hammering on the front door. But when I got to my front door, he was already inside my house, and he was making my mum read him a story, and if she didn't read the story, he was gonna eat me up. And that was my dream regularly. Well, it happened, I shouldn't say regularly, it happened 3 times to me. And I think on the 4th time, it wasn't a dream, it was real. I got up one morning, and at the age of 5, as I walked out the front door, I realised the deja vu. Because as I went to the front gate and closed it and looked at the frost, I knew someone or something was waiting for me down that alley. So instead of going to my neighbour's front door and looking for them to come out to play, I turned round, went through the gate, knocked on the door, went indoors, and my mum said, "I thought you were going out to play." And I was like, "No, I don't fancy going out today to play, Mum." But I never told her till I got older why. It's really strange, right? But that's the sort of things that happened to me. Years later I saw him too, but I totally ignored him, and then ended up in a situation I shouldn't have ended up in. But yeah, so my spiritual guardian always appears to me as the big bad wolf. It's really strange. I've also had the Grim Reaper appear to me a couple of times when things were about to happen. I've also had a samurai figure appear to me, not just in dreams, I mean really in like the shadows, studying them. I mean I do see a lot of shadow people. It happens like in big clusters though, I've noticed that. And there is a video, I think, on one of my other channels of one of the orbs that sometimes appears near my house. But yeah, I've had regular contacts. I've the spiritual world is a mystery, even still to me, with the contact, because I kind of think, if, you know, when we have regression and we go back and we know that we are reincarnated, the regression is strange, because what do you believe in? You can't believe in one and then believe in the other, because we either die and our spirit goes on to another light, another source, or we die and it hangs around trying to protect and watch over people, or we die and we're reincarnated. So what happens? So the best answer I can give you, I want to know what you think about this, and leave comments in the section below. But I believe that when we die, our spirit is kind of broken. It kind of shatters, in a way, in a nice way. That we leave here with all the knowledge and wisdom that we've gained, and we split. And I think that free, we always see a free everywhere we go, in church, in Celtic tradition and folklore, and I believe, you know, we split into three. I believe our wisdom which we've gained here, the knowledge that we know, gets uploaded, and I believe then, you know, we're free. Another spiritual part of us can break off and be free to wander and travel and look at the planes around us. And then another part of us is then, it can be reincarnated, but we carry a lot of that knowledge and wisdom with us into the next life. But we've got to try then not to repeat the same mistakes again. You know, I don't know why this happens. I don't know if that's completely true, but I kind of, that's the path I'm going through, because we can't be reincarnated and then, you know, say I believe my auntie is reincarnated, but then another cousin has said, well, no, she can't be because I've been in contact with her. And then another cousin's like, well, no, she's like completely part, you know. So it must, unless you believe in the other side of it, because where there's angels, there's demons. And I will tell you now, there is a dark, there is an evil, there is something that mimics very, very, and that is basically what could be happening, to make you believe in something completely different. These have been around for a long, long time before us. During the first part of creation, you've got to remember, well, where there's light, there's darkness. And things are very good at mimicking. These things have been around for a long time. They know you. God knows, the creation knows you. The good side and the bad side of creation. So it knows you inside and out. It can pull things from the air, all your memories. So it can mislead you into believing things. I mean, I've heard stories, you know, and I've had things said to me. People are always saying to me, do we go to the light or don't we? Because as people have been studying and learning, like Jesus said, this was a prison planet, and the only way to get back to the source, the Father, the creation, the Big Bang, the mother of everything, is to believe in the light, follow the path which he led. You know, he didn't believe in going to church and praying. He believed in following your heart and soul and your love. You know, he followed the light. He said to his disciples, if anyone asks you where you're from, you tell them I'm from the light. You know, he always said, don't be, when people have died, he always said they're sleeping. You don't have to worry about them anymore. They're not here anymore. The only things that watch over you are what you pray for. So, you know, if you want to follow that path, then really you must believe that the spirits that are around us are not our family that's passed over. They are not. They're a family from a different part. They're a spiritual guidance team, the essence of where our family come from, you know. But remember, there's also darkness that leads you into that trap of believing that your family are waiting for you through that light. So that's what he was trying to say. There's no one there waiting. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and when you die, you die, and your whole soul, your spirit, your light, your energy, your personality, your spirit, you know, it will go back to source. But we've also been told, obviously, this is a prison planet, and so we'll be stuck here if we choose to go down that path of the tunnel. If we go down to the tunnel, go through the tunnel, and we decide to go towards the light, apparently that's not a path to follow. But you don't know, do you? Do you remember your death from last time? Do you remember going down that tunnel back to be reborn? Because that is what a lot of people now are waking up to and saying. You know, we go down the tunnel, it's a pretend, you know, like I was saying before, it's a mimic. They want you to go down that tunnel to be reborn again. They need the power. They're hungry for energy. It's dark forces I'm talking about. They want our energy here. We're like batteries for them, you know. Because that will lead you down to a path. If we unpack that leads you down to the path of the beginning of creation. Now, there's loads of different books and stories out there, but I will tell you this. When we first came here, we had a job to do. Our job was to be caretakers of the planet. That's all we were here to do. They put us here, breed, you know, this is what you're here to do. You will teach your children. This is what you eat from the ground. This is what you feed the animals. This is how we go on with our life, and this is what you will do every single day of your life. You choose what you want to do, and you'll continue to do that, and you'll pass that down to your children. Your children will pass that down to their children. You'll learn how to eat. I will provide you with everything you need on the earth. This planet was meant to be a planet from other planets, as in a kind of refugee planet, as it was, like it is today, really. We had things put here from falling asteroids. We had things put here that were put here by another species to look after. If you want to save a planet, what do? You take some species off that planet that you know is failing, it's going to die soon, and you'll put them on a planet that's near enough the same as theirs to keep them going, you know. So they thought they'd help make a species that would be quite docile and be happy. Before all this now, how docile were we? Before all this digital, these frequencies took over our brains and are driving us frigging crazy. So yeah, we were put here to look after the planet. And then obviously another species come along and thought, this is cool. I like what I see down there. Yeah, we could rule over these people. We could just make them our slaves. We could do whatever we wanted to them. Because I don't think them other ones are coming back, you know, to watch them and make sure they're okay. So anyway, that is what started to happen. But obviously they did come back. They did come back, and they saw us and they were like, hey, what the hell's happened here, you know? Some other species has come in and now they're ruling over these beings that we made. So what do? Well, you know what happens, because it's all written down in many books and stories. You know, we've got the Sumerian tablets. We've probably got generations and generations before that. I believe that the world has cycled probably several times, you know. We raise up, we fall down, we raise up, we fall down, and I believe that's how it goes. And I've been getting spiritual contact lately saying to me, please, because I've been stressing about the whole world. I don't know if you have. It's put in our faces all the time through social media. I have to cut myself off from it, you know. So I have literally been stressing so much about it, and eventually I thought my brain was going to burst because I was worried so much about it. I've actually seen grey hair. I've never had grey hairs, and now I'm getting grey hairs. And I had literally a spiritual being say to me as I was falling asleep, this is not for you to worry about. It will all come full circle. What's going on now is meant to be. This is how it ends. And then we start again. And that's kind of scary to know. You know, this could be it. This could be running into our final timeline, you know, to repopulate and restart again. But I do know that is what they said to me. It's coming full circle. It's all I keep getting. A few years ago, I kept getting, someone's knocking on your door. Someone's knocking on your door. And the only reference I knew for that was Jesus knocking on your door, or his disciples were knocking on your door. You need to go to church. You know, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I was like, no, that is not what I am doing. You know, and I thought that, but the last sort of like few months, I have gone back, and in a way that, not to go back to church, but I have literally been drifted and pulled back to a nice little community that actually praises the creation with song. So yes, I've joined a nice choir, and they do actually, I said they did a starer because they had in the church, they did a church for Easter. They did we did a little concert for Easter as well, but in that early morning for Ostara, they went out and did some rituals in their peace garden, which was absolutely lovely. But yeah, so I've kind of like got back into a community, very spiritual. Where do I go from there talking to you? I really do want to know how you feel and what you think about stuff. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I just know in this day and world today, we're going to have to start helping people understand a few things. Social media is not the greatest thing. It's very corruptive to the younger generation, their mind, while it's still developing. There's a lot more suicides in teenagers, and I don't know about you, but when I was like 14, 15, I got real depressed, you know, with life even then. And this is going back to the 90s, you know. There was a lot of stuff going on with war, and, you know, they were pushing it on us then in the media, on TV. You know, war, famine, disaster, drugs, this, that and everything else. And that was making me a bit more down, that I knew that I only had a few years left at school and I'd be out in this world, you know, on my own, trying to find a job. So that kind of like, and social media's always been that way, pushing the narrative. I remember being very sick when I was like 15 because I was trying to stop myself from eating so much. So I'd go for days without food because I wanted to look like, or be accepted by other people, thinking it was the social norm to look like a skeleton in clothes, you know. And now when I look back at it, I think, wow, it's good to be healthy. It's good to maintain a nice weight so you don't have high blood pressure, so your heart can carry that load. But at the same time, it is not good to push yourself to a point where your brain can't function because it's not getting the nourishment and your organs are really struggling to keep up. You know, that is not good. Not at all. You know, and the same on the other foot, to keep pushing yourself and eating because being overweight is the social norm. That's really not good for your heart either. All your organs, it's exactly the same. You must stay to the right amount, you know. Weighing them scales. Do you eat less? Do you eat more? No, we need to be balanced. We need to sit in the middle. It's always been about scales, hasn't it, really? Sitting in the middle when everything's balanced and at peace. And all through religious writings and going back to like all over the world, they will tell you be balanced. And it's not just with weight, it's with the mind, physically, mentally, spiritually. We have to be balanced, you know, with everything that we do, you know, because I used to be quite OCD about everything as well, like cleaning, eating, doing this, doing that, making sure I'd stick to times. Like I was at work this time, come home this time, clean this time, cook this time. I was so OCD about it. I hated anyone throwing me out of that loop, and that's not a way to go either. It's not mentally good for you. But at the same time, it's good to have structure, because I have a little bit of a hyperactive brain and I kind of do weird stuff. Like I'll be doing something and then go, oh yeah, I've got to do that, and I'll forget about everything else that I'm doing. So structure for me, OCD, kept me focused. it kept me structured, it kept me doing the things I was meant to be doing. And now a therapist has helped take that away from me. I'm very overwhelmed and unstructured, and I really want to get a little bit back in my life where I feel a bit more structured. But yeah, so any advice for people struggling right now? Well, I did write something down actually. I will read it to you. So, navigating the world today with the overload of imbalance in the body, and trying to remember that the world is not your problem to solve. Yeah, remember that. The world is not your problem to solve. It's all of our problem. We're all in it. We're all doing the bad stuff. We're all doing good stuff, I hope, as well. But it's your own path. It's yours to create. We've just touched on that as well. Your problems are yours to control and yours to conquer. Put on your armour and be a warrior. Tell the critic in your head, yeah, you've got to tell that critic in your head that tells you you're no good. I hate getting up to you and someone says, which is this voice in your head, you want to wear something today, and then you look and you're like, you look crap. You're like, oh. Immediately I feel sad when that critic takes over. You can't let it take over. So tell the critic in your head you are happy for that voice, but you can be quiet now because you've got this, because you know why the critic in your head exists, don't you? It's there to protect you. It wants you to keep in a comfort zone and not be outrageously your true self, because it knows that that could be a downward spiral if someone criticizes you from the outside. So it kind of like is trying to help you but it's kind of messes you up a little bit. So you've got to listen, you've got to balance again with that critic, you know. So tell the critic in your head basically, thank you for the input, but I'm okay, I can get on with it now, but thank you. You know, it's a welcomed voice, but I don't need you in my ear today, I need to get on with things. So that's what you need to do. You're happy for the voice, but you don't need it. Okay, so anyway, so you can acknowledge stuff, but you don't have to follow. We have, right, so yeah, that's also what I wanted to say. We have a gut instinct about things, right? A gut instinct, and that's a guide to us. Life is meant to be an adventure. The rest is just noise. Okay? So don't let anyone pressure you into being something you don't want to be, or don't want to do, okay? There are things that we have to do in life, okay? You can't say to your mum, no, I don't feel like doing the housework for you while you're at work 60 hours. You can't say that to your mum. That's not fair, you know. Your parents are there. They've brought you up. They slugged their guts up to give you what they could give you today. You know, a lot of parents, you know. I mean, some of you probably haven't got that kind of parent, and I'm sorry for that. But you can't give up. Saying, no, I don't feel like doing that today. Don't feel like cleaning that bathroom, even though you told me to. I might, but I still want my pocket money. It doesn't work like that. You know, we all have to do things sometimes like that we don't want to do. What I'm telling you is something different. You know, if you feel pressured into, say someone says, oh, can you drive me to so-and-so today? You know, like a friend. Oh, you can drive me to the pub and back today. I feel like having a drink. You can say no. You don't have to feel pressured by people to do something, you know. But it's good to be helpful, you know, as well. So remember to balance that. I don't know if I'm telling you. I don't know if that sounds good or not, really. I mean, does that sound right? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Anyway, so I just wanted to say to you, so this will be a not just about me, this whole Beyond Worlds, this is just a little insight to the way I am, okay, and what this channel will be about. So we're kind of like we'll be looking into like sometimes, not all the time, herbs that are actually out and about in the wild that you can use to look after yourself. We'll be looking into like phantoms, ghost stories and stuff. We'll also be looking into dogman sightings, or wild man sightings, which is Bigfoot to people in other countries, or squash, I can never say that word, sorry. But it will be like that. We'll be looking into definitely empathic powers, and you know, I'll definitely be giving you advice on energy and being empathic. I will be definitely doing that, because you do need the help and navigation, especially in this world today. And if you have any questions or stories you want me to cover, or you have any more questions or anything, any advice that I can give you that can help you, you know, feel free to leave a comment, and feel free, if I put an email address, feel free to email me. I don't mind getting back to you. I also have an Instagram, but if you want to email me, you know, feel free to. I might not be able to get back to everyone, but I will really try to help as much as what I can. And if I can't email you because I'm busy, I'll write down something, and I'll probably give you advice on either on this channel on YouTube or my podcast, because I'm hopefully trying to put this into a podcast. But yeah, there'll be ideas as well, you know, because I've got some ideas that I want to help people with as well. I had an idea for a pyramid, and that sounds really, really weird, but I don't know if you know that pyramids are very, very healing and hold frequency and energy just by being on the ground, and just by their design. I don't know if you follow geometry, but geometry is very, very sacred and goes back a very, very long time. That's why you get symbols everywhere. But anyway, that's all I wanted to cover for now, and I hope that you have a really good day, a really good week, and please follow, please subscribe, and I hope that you have a really good day, a really good week, and please follow, please subscribe, and I hope that you have a really good day, a really good week, and please follow, please subscribe, and I promise I will not talk and talk and talk like this again. Okay, thank you. Bye.